All right, well, this will probably be the shortest of the Steelers recap videos I do this season because there's just not a ton to talk about in a game like this. And also, I am very tired, so I don't want to stay on here too long. Pittsburgh loses in Buffalo 38-3. It's Kenny Pickett's first start. And he was all right. It could have been worse. He completed 34-52 passes for 327 yards and an interception. Very well could have been worse against a Buffalo defense that, even though they're missing a lot of really talented players, they're missing all the same guys, basically, against Miami. And they shut down Tua for most of that game, along with Waddle and Tyreek Hill. And that was a game where the Bills were throwing up on the sidelines because it was so hot outside. And this was a home game for them. So, overall, it went a lot better than, for Kenny Pickett at least, than it could have. It could have gone much worse. Again, with Pickett at this point, it's just you want to see flashes. You don't want to see a complete game. I mean, you would love it if he came out and was good right away. But you're not expecting to see a complete game from Kenny Pickett. You're expecting to see flashes that you can then build on and help him round out for next year, essentially. Because we are playing for next year at this point. We're 1-4. Couldn't run the ball at all. Not surprising with our offensive line. We don't really have a bursty speed back. That's just not who Jalen Warren is. That's just not who Najee Harris is. Our offensive line is not that good when it comes to run blocking, and Buffalo's defensive line is one of the best in football. George Pickens flashed again, which again is something we want to see from these young guys, these rookies. We want to see the flashes, and Pickens is actually looking like a player who could lead this team in receiving yards for the season. Now, I say that knowing Deontay Johnson's a couple of games head start on him, essentially. But I do think Pickens has a good shot, considering the chemistry between him and Pickett is clearly there. I mean, Pickens has had two of his best games with Pickens and Pickett. I'm gonna screw those names up. The last names quite often, but Pickens had his best game last week with Pickett at quarterback, and another game this week, over 180 yards between the past two games. And Deontay Johnson, man, I just wish he was a little bit more productive. And he had another drop today. It just seems like the drops are always going to be there for him. That one was a little more contested than some of his other drops where it's just, the ball just hits his hands and then for whatever reason he can't hold it in. We need Deontay Johnson to be more productive in his role currently. 5 receptions on 13 targets compared to Pickens. 8 catches on 6 targets. We need a little more from Deontay Johnson. Defensively, still can't get any pass rush going at all. Cameron Hayward was a little bit better today, but still not what we need from him. Fitzpatrick got beat at least once. I know you could say it was really good coverage and just like excellent ball placement, but the fact is the receiver was behind him, and the fact that the play was made still makes me think he was more beat than not, especially against a quarterback like Josh Allen. When it's Allen or Mahomes, you can't really let guys behind you like that. And that was one to Gabe Davis, who had an awesome day. You cannot allow guys behind you when you got those two guys throwing the football because they are so pinpoint accurate downfield, and they have such good arms to the ability to make those throws. So Minkah Fitzpatrick, not a great day for him. Cam Hayward said solid, but not really good, or not really great, I should say. Alex Highsmith was not the playmaker we need him to be when no T.J. Watt is out there. So really tough day all around on the defense. It was worse than I expected, frankly. I was hoping for a little bit more, but I guess I was asking for too much. The defense at this point, even when Watt comes back, we're going to have a serious conversation about this defense because it's not very talented, frankly. With where Cam Hayward's been at this point in his career this year, and again, I was really hoping he'd be an All-Pro again this year, but it's certainly not looking like he's going to be that at all. We have how many players we would actually like to keep going forward? I think maybe 3. We have Minkah, we've got Alex Highsmith, and why am I blanking now? I thought we had 3 guys who I'd like to keep going forward, but you get the point. If it's only 3, all the same, it's still not very good. Cam Sutton's a guy who I'd like to keep going forward as well, and hopefully Cam Hayward maybe can bounce back when Watt comes back or next year. But the point being, there's 3 or 4 guys on the defense who are actually players I would like to keep on this unit next year. Everyone else doesn't really move the needle that much, so it's a little worrisome just how poorly constructed this defense is in terms of talent. So that's something we really have to have a conversation about. And of course, like I said, the offensive line in general has played better this year than we really would have expected they were going to, or at least the Knives expected they were going to play. They did give up 3 sacks today. Kind of understandable considering, like I said, Buffalo has one of the better defensive lines and one of the deeper defensive lines in the NFL. But I still think you have to upgrade this offensive line, man. Like, just because Dan Moore Jr. might be a solid player doesn't mean he's a good enough player that he can keep above someone you take in the first round. Like, I really don't. I don't have a ton of faith in him going for a left tackle. I just don't. Well, we'll see. Maybe I'm proven wrong. Pittsburgh. Oh, boy. Pittsburgh won the time possession game today. 36 minutes to about 24 minutes for Buffalo. And still lost by 35 points. That's something you don't see very often. You don't see a team win the time possession battle by basically 12 minutes and lose by over 30 points. Yeah, this was an ugly one, man. I'm not going to lie. I had the red zone on at some point. You know, I've been very tired today. I've been kind of fading in and out today. I had red zone on just because after like the first quarter, there's really no point in watching this game. Not a lot at all. But yeah, it was a rough day, understandably so. Kind of expected it to be bad. Maybe not this bad, but hey, it is what it is. At this point, I don't want to see any Steelers fans talking about the playoffs. I just don't. Like, come on, be realistic. Just like get out of your fantasy world. Like you gotta be a little graceful when losing here, man. Like we're gonna lose this year. We're gonna stink this year. We are bad as a football team. But hey, on the bright side, I am a guy who gets fairly heavily involved in draft content, so I have lots to look forward to for Pittsburgh. So we're gonna be picking pretty high this year. It seems like. Even if Watt comes back, this is not going to turn this franchise around. At least not this season. But yeah, we're about 6 minutes and 30 seconds in, so I'm going to call it here, guys. And I'll talk to you all, if not sometime this week, then next weekend.